How we feeling? We're simply chilling, yeah. Oh, yeah. How we living? We're simply chilling, yeah. Ow, 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 ow. Welcome back to the Simply Chillin' podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Jonathan.
And today we're just going to get right into it because some crazy stuff happened. Basically, we got broken into.
I can't leave for 1 week. 1 week. I went on vacation.
So, yeah. A lot of stuff happened this week that he was gone to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. And he's withholding some of these stories from me, so I'm curious to hear them for the first time on the podcast.
Some stuff he doesn't even know about, but this story he does because someone broke into our house. And that somebody was me.
Dun, dun, dun.
So
please tell me the story, Jeremy, because
yeah,
it's a little bit wild the way all of that went down.
It was very inconvenient. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I bet.
So I go to the store on my motorcycle, and I don't have my house key because it's on my car keys. So when I get back,
And what did I tell you to do?
Shut up. So
Who was right?
Shut up. So when I get back, I realize, oh, I've had such a good day today. Wait a second. Where are my house keys? So I go around, check all the windows, all the doors. They're all locked. So I call this it's not too early to say the F word.
I'll believe it.
I call this right? And I'm like, dude, I don't know what else to do. I might have to just bust this window.
And so I'm at Myrtle Beach. I'm hanging out with Lauren, and she is sitting right next to me, and he calls me, and he's like, dude, and he gives me the whole spill. I don't have my keys. And I'm like, dude, I'm like 6 hours away, 7 hours away. Like, I mean, even if you, like, got a hotel tonight and I came back, like, it just, I'm not supposed to come back for like 3 days.
I had to work the next day too. So
yeah, and he had to get in the house before I could get there. And of course, like me and her are sitting down like watching like Netflix or whatever, and she's like looks at me like, oh shit, like oh no, like, and I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna do. And so he starts trying to find if any of the windows are like unlocked or whatever, right? Is that how that happened?
And so I decided to go to the back door because the back door has like the, tic-tac-toe type thing where it's like 9 little windows. I was like, if I just bust out that small one right there and then I can unlock the door and get in. It's all one piece of glass. Actually it's double paned.
Two pieces of glass.
Yeah. So she's like, well, just grab a brick and, wrap your shirt around it so it's not so loud. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, 1, 2.
I'm gonna stop you right there because we said all this and you're like, all right, I'll call you back, let you know or whatever. And so we get off the phone and me and her start talking about like, all right, so how's this gonna happen or whatever. I'm like, I told her, I was like, he's not gonna bust just one little brick, like one little part of the window. That's a whole window.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was double paned, but I'm like, I guess we'll sit around to find out, And so we sit back down, we start back. We were watching Big Bang Theory, and so we sit back down and watch our show.
Nerd.
Whatever, it's a great show. Go ahead.
So, all right. So I wrap my shirt around this brick that I found in the backyard, and like I try it a couple times, and I'm like, damn, that's harder than I thought. So like on the third attempt, I was just like, I fucking sent it. It was just like, psh, glass went everywhere. I'm like, oh fuck, and my shirt's off because I used it to wrap around like brick, and there's glass down into my boxers and shit. I'm like, oh my god, dude. So I get in there, and I'm fucking like, there's glass everywhere. I'm gonna go ahead and show the video.
Yeah, show me the video.
Because this happened right after I got off the phone with him and I busted the window and stuff, and so I'm like, this is the aftermath.
He sends me this video like right afterwards.
This did not go how I thought it would. I just hit this middle one right here, and it all just fucking. You can still hear pieces of it falling, even to this day. It's double pain.
We went outside today and we shut the door and the glass is still falling out. It's still falling out of it.
I mean, I have cardboard like on the front and back side of the door, and it's like duct tape like a motherfucker.
I'll insert a picture right here.
Yeah. But...
Of how he's got it set up now.
But so after I busted the window, I'm like sweeping up the glass, like, fuck. And not even like 5 minutes later, someone comes up to the back door and he's like, Sheriff's Department. I'm like, oh shit. And he's like, show me your hands. I'm like, I live here. I'm like, I'm not technically on the lease, but I do live here. And he's like, okay. So why don't you just show me your ID? So I give him my ID. And as soon as I step out there, out of nowhere, I don't even know, like all of a sudden someone grabs my hand, and then I see the person, and he put me in handcuffs. I'm like, damn. And he's like, we just got to detain you till we verify everything that's going on. I'm like, honestly, this is the first time I've ever been in handcuffs. Like, I know it's a surprise, but...
Of all the stories I'm hearing about you here lately?
I mean, I've been detained before, but I was just, like, sitting in the back of a cop car. Like, I got a clean record and everything, but first time I've ever been in handcuffs, I'm like, damn, this is kind of vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, I'm standing there, and he's just like, well, anybody else in the house? He's like, other than that big-ass dog? And I'm like, no, nobody else is in the house, and my dog's in a crate, so you're good. And so they search the house, and they're like, well, I told them that I live here with my cousin. His name's on the lease. And they're like, is there any way you can verify that? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, can you get him on the phone? So I give him his phone number. The cop calls him.
Twice. I get 2 phone calls from Leeds, Alabama. And my first instinct is, that's someone from work. Like, I'm not trying to answer anybody from work. I'm on vacation. I'm 3 states away. Like, it's late. I mean, what time was this? 9:30, 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah,
it was dark.
10:30 maybe.
So it's late, like, I'm not answering that phone call. Called me twice, and I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. And then I get a call from Jeremy.
Yeah.
Or who I thought was Jeremy. And I'm like, okay. So I answer, and he's like, yeah, this is Sheriff so-and-so from Leeds Department or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, so we have Jeremy Goff in handcuffs. Like, do you know what's going on? I'm like, yes.
I was like, thank God. I'm glad he wasn't like, wait, no, I have no idea.
Straight to jail. I'm like, yes. We left the keys in the house, and he had to break the back glass to get in, get in or whatever. He's like, okay, well, do you have? He said, send me your license through text so I can verify, who you are, and then do you have a piece of mail that's here that can verify, that can match the name up or whatever? And I'm like, yeah. So just go in my master bedroom. There should be a piece of mail that should match my name up and stuff.
Thank God, like, we haven't been here that long, but we've been here long enough to get some mail.
So. Yeah, we actually had some bills here.
Yeah. Otherwise,
they were, like,
I don't think
around.
that we could have proved it, like, honestly. But,
yeah, if we didn't have mail, I don't know how we would have proved it. Like, the only thing I know to do would have been to, like, take a screenshot of the actual lease with my name on it and send it to you or whatever.
Do you even have that?
It's on my phone, yeah. Okay. That actually, when I hung up from that phone call, I didn't know for sure that you were out of handcuffs until after you called me back, because, like, at that point he's like, all right, thanks, and he hung up, and I'm like, oh shit, like, Jeremy's going to jail, like, this is not okay. Me and Lauren are both freaking out, like, it's totally, like, stopped our evening, you know what I mean? And so I started looking up my lease agreement, and I'm like, all right, what do I need to send to this phone so I can prove or whatever? And then, like, 3 minutes later, he calls me back, and he's like, hey, so that was crazy. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, he's not in jail.
Yeah. And glass went fucking everywhere, dude. All on the rug, and, like, it took me days to get all the glass out of this house. But that's finally over, thank God.
And that's such a wild story. Like, we've been here less than a month, and, like, left our keys, and we're breaking windows.
And the 1 week that you're gone, that happens. Also, I got rear-ended pulling into our driveway.
Yeah, you have not told me this story yet.
Okay. So I get off work, and by the time I get home, it's like 12 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I pull onto our road, and this motherfucker's, like, really, like, driving fast behind me, like, really following me. I'm like, dude, fucking asshole. Forget about it for a second. Then I go to turn in my driveway, and fucking, I'm like, dude.
While you're in the driveway?
Like, I'm about to turn in, so I'm, like, turn like this, and, like, he hits me, and I slam on my brakes so I don't hit the fucking mailbox. Oh. And I get out. I'm like, I'm fucking pissed, dude. I get up. I'm like, I wait for him to get out, and it's this big black dude with a gold grill in his mouth. I'm just like, driving a little fast, huh? And my demeanor changed a little bit.
Yeah, I bet.
And he was just like, damn, bro, you didn't turn on your signal. I was like, yeah, well, you were driving pretty fucking close. You know, it's 20 miles an hour. I was going 23, and you were on my ass.
Yeah.
He was like, shit.
And there are such things as brake lights.
Exactly. And so I'm like, I'm looking at my shit, and it's like kind of scuffed up, but I kind of, you know, rub it with my hand. I'm like, oh, that's going to come off. You know, it's a little bit dented, but my car's a piece of shit. Like, I really don't care. And it was paid off, whatever.
What was he driving?
Like a Chevy, like little gray car. I'm not sure what it was, like a Chevy Cobalt or something.
Okay, little tiny car then.
Chevy Volt or I don't fucking know.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm just like, man, because he rear-ended me, and so really it's up to me if I want to, you know, exchange.
Report it, yeah.
And I smell weed coming off of him, and you know I can tell he's had a night himself, and I'm just like, look, I mean my shit's not that bad unless your shit's kind of fucked. You want to get? He's like, let's just leave it. I'm like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. He's like, thank God, man. Like shook my hand. It was like, I was like, all right, well, hey, look, it's all good, man. Just be safe. And he's like, bet. And he got in his car and just he backed up and he went back the way he came and just zipped out of there. I was like, dang, he didn't even want to finish going where he was going.
Wow. He was just going for a drive, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm just like, damn, I've never been rear-ended before. Right as I'm pulling in my driveway. But I was like, dude, it's 12 o'clock. Like, I could have easily, you know, if he didn't have insurance, I'd be like, what you got on you? You know? But it's like 12 o'clock. I definitely don't want to get cops involved. But I was ready to get here. It was a long-ass night. I was ready to get inside.
You definitely could have been like, hey, man, you got like $100 on you? Like,
yeah, I could. In hindsight, I could have, but my feet were killing me. I was just like,
you're ready to get home, too.
I'm ready to get inside and make a drink. Like,
I mean, if your car's not that bad, which I actually have not even seen his car yet. But
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just like, there's a small dent.
Is it big enough for me to put a picture up?
Yeah, we could probably take a picture if we want.
Right, but I'll throw a picture up right here.
Yeah, but okay. Maybe, but there's like some scuffs down the side of it, but I can buff it out. Okay, not a problem. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think I've ever been rear-ended before, ever. I know you've told me stories about you've been rear-ended.
I was
in the past.
One time. You're driving my parents' F-150.
Yeah.
And I had just left school, and I come to this light, and I see in the rearview mirror this vehicle's just like going full speed. I was like, are they gonna stop? No. And just hit me, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Me and my buddy get out, and we were about to beat some ass, and we saw there was this girl that I went to school with. We were like, oh. And she was like so upset, and I was like, all right, I'm not so mad, but I'm just like, dude, she hit me so hard. She was probably going like 30 miles an hour. She hit me so hard that I hit the person in front of me, even though I was parked. So my insurance had to cover their back bumper.
That's stupid.
And the reason why is because you have to be parked far enough back so where you can see the bottom of their tire.
You have to be far enough back that if you do get hit, you don't hit the person in front of you.
Exactly. I'm like, dude,
but that's dumb.
Yeah, like, her insurance should cover both of ours.
Right, yeah. I agree with that. That's crazy. I've only been in one wreck my entire life.
Not me.
I think only one, and it wasn't my fault. I was 16, and I was coming up over this hill, like, really slow. I was going like 15 miles an hour, and I just came up over this hill, and this person was trying to hang a left to go to their road, and they hung a left right as I turned this hill, and my front fender hit their front fender, and we just T-boned, but it was super slow collision, but it messed up. This was my first car. This was a 1994, I think. Buick Regal was my first car, and I actually really liked the car. I paid like $800 for it or something. It drove perfect. Everything was perfect with it, and I T-boned them. And, well, they T-boned me because they were in my lane. And so the cops get there, and, of course, I feel like even my parents were like, you know, he's 16. This person was in their 40s or something, I think. And it was a woman. And they're like, it's definitely going to be my fault because I'm barely have my license or whatever. I'm like, no, like, she hit me. Like, I was pretty confident in it. And sure enough, the cop, they do some measurements, and they don't see any skid marks because I slammed my brakes. It was like last second because she was in my lane as soon as I came up over this hill. And sure enough, the cop comes back. It's like, yeah, you know, it's definitely their fault. They're in your lane. Like, you weren't going too fast or anything. There's not a bunch of skid marks, you know, all that kind of stuff. I felt like my parents were even kind of surprised about it, you know, that it wasn't me that messed up, you know what I mean? And so I paid $800 for this car. Insurance totaled the car and gave me $1,900 for it. So I used that money I bought a $1,300, I think, 1996 Ford Thunderbird. It was the last year they made them until they started making them later. And a V8, and I bought my class ring, and I think I bought my Letterman's jacket.
You bought a class
and
ring?
I bought a class ring, yeah.
What a nerd.
Whatever. I was in band. Like, it was like something you did. It's
what
like
a nerd.
You buy class rings if
I was
you're
in band too.
Yeah, you buy class rings if you're in band or if you're like on the football team. I feel like it's kind of the two things that like you want a class ring for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And especially if you're on the football team, but considering we pretty much follow the football team their whole time.
Yeah,
you know,
like
we're
kind
part
of
of it.
part of the team in a way.
Well,
but.
yeah. We have more fun than the football team. I feel like we're out there like jamming.
Probably don't have as much sex, but.
I did date the color guard. I cuddled the drum mate, or I
You cuddled the drum.
I dated the drum majorette and like 2 different color guards, I think, in my career. So.
Career.
In my 3.5-year career, because I quit the last year because the drum instructor was a piece of shit and I didn't like him. So.
Well, we don't have to get into that. Then.
Yeah.
But, did I tell you this story about me flipping my car? No? I had a Saturn Ion. I love that car. It's like a 5-speed, fucking the back doors like open up like suicide doors. I love that car. It was really fun. I just got it paid off like 2 weeks before this happened. And I'm on my way home. I'm smoking a cigarette, and this Fetty Wap song comes on. It just came out, and I was like, "Yeah, baby." I was like, "I like this song, right?" So I'm gonna just drive past my driveway and keep listening to the song. As soon as I drive past my driveway, there's this hill that goes down, and so all of a sudden I go down this hill, and right at the bottom of the hill, a deer jumps out into my lane, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" I got a cigarette in my hand. I'm fucking driving a stick shift, so I'm like, you know, I swerve him because like if I hit him, like my car is so low, if it would have hit, it would have gone through the windshield, probably killed me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I swerve around him, and I get back in my lane. When I do that, I go over the brim a little bit. So I go like that, and it overcorrects, and I flip and land in the ditch, right? I'm upside down. I'm like dangling there. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So I undo my seatbelt. I like hit the ceiling, which is actually the floor. And then I'm like, fuck, I grab the door, and I try to open it, and it's like stuck to the ground. So I had to like kick it out. And I get out, and I look at what I just did at my car, and I'm just like, fuck me, dude. And I'm like, let me grab because I had some things that might not necessarily be legal, so I grabbed those things, and then I walked up to my house, because I was literally right at the bottom of the street. Walk up to my house, I'm like, I'm just going to get a couple hours of sleep and deal with this in the morning. And I look in the mirror, and there's like blood coming down my face, because something from my back seats, they fold down, and I had a bunch of shit back there, and I think it was like a dartboard that came flying.
Oh, wow.
Hit me in the head. There's still a scar. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but anyways, so 2 hours later, my dad's like, hey, there's a cop at the door. I'm like, oh, shit. So I go out there, I talk to him, and he's like, hey, what happened? You know, I told him and all that stuff. He's like, okay. Quick question, though. We noticed a bunch of beer cans inside and around your car, and I was like, quick little tidbit about me. I used to drink and drive a little bit back in the day, you know, partying and stuff. And when I'd finish a beer, I would just let my seat down and throw it in the trunk, right? And I wasn't drinking that night, just to be clear. So
Sure you were.
So I had a lot of beer cans in the trunk. They went flying everywhere when I flipped. So I told him, I was like, you know, it's kind of embarrassing, but I like collect cans to make some extra money. And he bought it.
That's a very good, like, quick comeback.
I know.
What I mean?
2 hours of sleep. I probably have a mild concussion, you know. And
Were they in bags, or like they were just loaded in the back?
Just thrown in.
I feel like if they were in bags, it would make more sense.
Yeah, but he bought it, and I ended up having to go to court for it because it was like.
But he didn't like breathalyze you or anything.
No.
So I mean, like,
no.
They had nothing to like.
But I fled the scene of an accident. So
you left your car there and went home and took a nap.
Yeah.
I don't guess I caught that. I don't know why I thought that you like the car flipped over and you drove it home or something, and like went to bed with like.
How would I get it flipped back over?
Well, yeah.
It was upside down in
Maybe
that
I was
ditch.
thinking that it wasn't flipped, like it flipped onto its.
Oh
whatever.
yeah, no, I was upside down, and so I had to go to court over it. And I told them the same story, and they were like, "All right, yeah, you're fine." I was like, "Wow, okay." They're not gonna press the beer can issue? Cool.
Hell no. I need another drink.
Yeah. Well.
Hey, plug our Instagrams. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So if you guys haven't already, you can follow the podcast on Instagram at Simply Chillin Pod, and my personal Instagram is _ Jeremy Goff _ Sorry, that door just slammed. And then his is Simply Chillin 770 on Instagram. And see what else do I got. He also has a YouTube channel called Simply Living 770. Yeah, it's a lot easier when he's plugging his and I'm plugging my own. But you know, he kind of left me out to dry here because he's apparently an alcoholic. Which is crazy. He's been drinking more than me, but he's like substantially smaller. So it should be a good episode because I guess I'm going to have to carry it like I am now. What else I got? Oh, did I mention he's like really short? I actually have an idea for a script, and we're gonna probably have that done by the next episode. And I'm gonna use a lot of tropes and like stereotypical like redneck things about him. I'm writing a character for him, so that should be fun because he's gonna hate it. I wish you would hurry up. So there's some stuff in the news about, I don't know if you guys have heard, what's his name? Something Matheson, the guy that played Hyde in that 70's show. Crazy shit. I mean, I knew that there were some things that were happening, and like months ago, and I was like, damn, that doesn't sound good. But more stuff has come out. I'm talking about Hyde from that 70's show.
How much do you hate me?
Still a lot. Just right in the middle of the podcast, you're like, you know what? Fuck you.
Hey, look.
I would love to get a refresher too. But
I'll get you one.
Okay. Then you can plug. I don't know what you'll do. When
I don't know what I'll figure it out.
But yeah, so Hyde from that 70's show. No, that's cool. That's cool. Because I told you a little bit about this, but I'm just gonna play it real quick because what the fuck. So
a jury finding actor Danny Masterson, who starred in the hit sitcom That 70's Show, guilty of rape. Our senior legal correspondent, Laura Jarrett, joins us now live in studio. And Laura, this is actually the second time prosecutors have gone after Masterson.
That's right, Tom. The first rape trial ended with a hung jury last year, but this time, after deliberating for more than a week, a jury found the actor sexually assaulted 2 women. What was different this time around is that the judge allowed in evidence that he drugged the women before these assaults. Now, Masterson denied any wrongdoing, but he didn't testify. His attorneys argued that prosecutors simply had no hard proof anyone was drugged. Scientology played a major role at this trial. The women said they feared coming forward, given his role in the church, and that officials discouraged them from going to law enforcement, something the church denies. As for Masterson, he is now facing 30 years in prison.
30 years, all right.
30 years. My only question is, like, that's like, first of all, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's fucked up. I think he deserves whatever he gets coming to him.
If he found guilty of that, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know anything about the case, but I feel like there's something fishy about it. I guess I'd have to, like, see the case.
The only question I have is, like, what were they wearing?
I don't think that's a real question.
I'm kidding. But the fact that Scientology had played a role in it, like, I can kind of believe that because they were afraid to come forward because I don't know if you know much about Scientology, but
I don't know anything about Scientology. What is Scientology?
It's a religion, right?
What?
Tom Cruise is part of Scientology. It's a religion.
Uh-huh.
A lot of, like, famous people are. But it's really, if you look at it with a magnifying glass, it's a fucking cult on a large scale. And, like, people that have tried to leave Scientology, they'll leave, and members of Scientology will follow them around, like, threaten their lives if they say anything that went on there. And
so why is Scientology a big part of a court case?
Because they were afraid to come forward because they were afraid of what the members of Scientology would do to them for coming after him.
Huh.
Yeah.
So is he part of that then?
Yeah, he's a part of the Scientology church. Yeah. That's
Oh,
I mean, according to
that's
this.
that's what. Okay, see, I missed that. He's a part of the Scientology church, and not like a Christian church. Or
and
whatever.
he's a big name, you know.
Yeah.
So like Tom Cruise.
Right.
Tom Cruise is kind of like the biggest name.
I mean, I don't know. You hear of a lot of these celebrities and having, crazy like sex parties and like all this other stuff, and you don't, as a normie, you don't know if that's real or not.
There could be some blurred lines. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I
mean, a lot of people can't. Did they say 6 women? I don't know.
I've
multiple women.
It's crazy because me and him actually watched other podcasters and stuff, and I was watching this one other podcast about, and this guy was like, I've actually been invited to like some sex parties and stuff. Like they got big enough to like actually get invited. And he's like, I didn't know that was like an actual thing. Like apparently, but it does happen. Like in the famous world of people, like that's something that happens regularly. He was talking about how it's like there are some where like there's like certain people having sex at the party, and there's other people that are just coming to watch, and like they're having drinks, and like it's a party, and they're in suits, and like we're having sex. And then there's general like full-blown orgies, like you're coming there and everyone's having sex.
You ever heard of a key party?
No.
So you go to a party with your wife or girlfriend or whatever, and you put your car keys in a bowl, and at the end of the night, when everybody's good and liquored up, each woman has to go and pick out a set of keys, and whoever those keys belong to, that's who she goes home with that night. Yeah, wow, it's like a swingers party.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That'd be some crazy shit. Like,
I know, right? Sometimes they do it with watches, but
I feel like when you get so rich and so famous, like I don't know, I just like you said, blurring the lines between
you run out of things to do because you've done it all, and
well,
so
the
you try
whole
to
thing is you have. I mean, if you become $100 millionaire, like there's only so many things you can buy. You're gonna have so many watches. You're gonna have only so many supercars. You're gonna have so many like beach houses. Like at some point, I think at like $20 million, other than buying a freaking super yacht or something.
Sure, if you're only thinking about yourself, but if you're thinking about like your kids and your kids' kids and setting up foundations and college funds, that shit will add up.
That's what I am talking about. As far as like stuff you do for yourself.
Yeah.
Like
I could imagine people were just like,
what else
can
I do
to get this dopamine fix?
Right.
Like they get creative.
And that's why I think it's very dangerous to get that rich. I mean, like everybody wants to get rich, you know what I mean? But like to get that rich, I think is dangerous for your soul in some instances, because you end up doing things that you probably would have never done.
Yeah, unless you're actually using your money for like, things that help the world.
Right. I mean, you want to have foundations and stuff.
But
yeah,
philanthropy.
Philanthropy. I've only had one, I promise.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy. I can't say it.
Still not. Philanthropy.
I can't say it.
Phil?
No.
Phil?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, unless you're doing that, like, because, that's going to take a lot of money. Otherwise, you're going to, anything more than $100 million, what are you doing?
Yeah, but you think about characters like, Mr. Beast. You know who Mr. Beast is?
Yeah,
I feel like most people know who he is.
I'm subscribed.
I'm subscribed too. I wish he was my best friend. But,
fuck you too.
Like, you want to fight right now?
No.
We'll fight right now on this podcast.
I don't think you want that.
Oh, I'd do it.
This guy.
It's the little man syndrome.
Stand up right now.
You need to talk about your arm wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
He told me the story earlier today.
I was at a bar last night, and it was like they already called last call, so we were just people outside just drunk and fucking around. And there was this like shorter guy who apparently is from Chicago, and this other guy who's been living in Alabama, a lot taller, right? And the short guy, he's a little younger guy, probably younger than me, and he's like talking shit like, man, I got these hands, bro. I can throw these hands, like. And I'm like, that's cool, man.
So he's like from Chicago, like he's trying to prove something because he's down here or something.
And he's like, man, I could take anybody in this bar, man, if they try me. I'm like, they're not gonna try you, man. I think you're just trying to prove a point right now. He's like, I'm just saying, like, because I'd really be about it. I'm like, okay, buddy. He's like, we different in Chicago. I'm like, yeah, we're different down here too. Like, we don't have to like.
People sleep on the South, but
like maybe in Chicago it's different because like you know that they'll fuck you up because of their demeanor, so you don't fuck with them. But here you don't know that we'll fuck you up because we have a more welcoming demeanor. But if you
it's
try
like sleeper
us,
cars.
we'll fuck you
like,
up.
you know, like it's the Honda Civic that has a V12 in it, like kind of deal. Like you come down here and
Sure.
I mean, I don't know, like it's an extreme example, but
So,
for the most part, the South has very Southern hospitality. Like we're not about like fight. I mean, there's fights. You know, we went to parties where there's fights, but like
I mean,
it's mostly when you're teenagers and like early 20s. You know, but once
happens at the bars that I would frequent.
yeah, and it's not that there's not fights, but there's normally reason for fights. Someone hit on someone's girl or something. Like no one's down here like my muscles are bigger than your
No matter
muscles.
what age you
know
are,
what I mean?
if you get enough alcohol with certain type of personalities, there's going to be a fight. But so anyway, so like the dude was like, "Oh yeah, you can take anyone in this bar?" He's like, "Yeah," and he just got him in a headlock. He's like, "Get out of the headlock, then." He's like, "Hey man, hey, quit, bro." And then he let him go. He's like, "Man, fuck you, man. I could have taken you. I just wasn't expecting it." He's
So
like,
imagine me of like Kevin Hart saying all this shit, like
because he was talking all this shit, and then he got sunned real quick, you know.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "If I was ready," he was like, "All right, you ready?" And so he grabbed him, and like he actually did get him on the ground, but it didn't last long, like you know. So he got up, and he was like, "Whatever, man, it's cool." He's like, "I could probably take this guy," and I was just like,
Talking about you?
"Yeah." And the other guy was like, "No," and he was like,
Was
"What
he
up?"
shorter than you? Like he was
a little
smaller?
bit, but
So
I mean,
taller than me, shorter than you, like
yeah,
somewhere in that range.
but I can kind of tell with certain people when they're all talk.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
definitely all talk, you
Right.
know, and so he's like, "Well, I mean, I could take you in arm wrestling." I was like, "I'll arm wrestle you, fuck it," you know. So sit down and you know, I'll give it to him. He was pretty strong, but I still was like, we were kind of neck and neck, but I was still getting him, you know.
Was he built?
Like he was curling his wrist like a motherfucker. I'm like,
he's
dude,
doing this whole thing.
I'm like, we're gonna be here all day if you do that. Straighten up, you know. And I was getting him about right here, and this guy walks out. He's like, "Hey, none of that. You quit it." And I was just like, okay. So I was
We're not fighting.
I was like, whatever. All right. So I got up and walked back inside, and then they were like, "Fuck it, let's arm wrestle." And so I could hear as I was walking away, he went back out there. He was like, "I said quit," and I'm like, these guys, dude, like, whatever. It was a little.
We're all tax-paying citizens. We should be able to arm wrestle at the bar if we
Yeah.
want to.
I mean, I could understand if you walked out there when dude had him in a headlock. Like, I could see why you'd be like, "Yo, break it up." But we're just arm wrestling, dude. Chill.
Yeah. But, you know, they got a business to run.
Speaking
and,
of.
you know. Oh, you want to do this right now?
Nah, I don't want to embarrass you.
I mean, you'll probably win, but I'll do it.
All right, fuck it. Let's do it. It was a joke, but since we're here, you know.
I'm just gonna, you know.
Dude, stop. I swear to God, this is the most, like, non-OCD person living with someone who has OCD around the whole house. It's just, like, I'm constantly, like, going afterward. It's, like, just, like, fixing things. And he's just, like, it'll be all right.
I have, like, a jacket and, like a towel.
The coasters keep sticking to the goddams.
Lauren, we love these coasters.
They are really dope.
I love them.
And these drinks, actually, or these
Yeah,
glasses.
it's Lauren. So Lauren bought
They're
us
like little mason jars.
these glasses and these coasters, and I love them. But they do tend to stick. Like I think there's a little pocket at the bottom, so they tend to stick to it, and then yeah, that happens.
Anyways, we were just discussing how you were about to lose in arm wrestling.
Oh yeah, we're discussing it.
Well, we were about to do it.
Oh,
So let's go.
okay.
All
We're
right.
gonna like break everything right now.
No, the only thing that's breaking is your arm.
You need to pull your arm a little closer though.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, I'm short.
All right, you ready?
Do we hold each other's?
If you want to.
All right.
We'll hold each other all day. All right, on three.
One, two, three. Okay, he wins.
Oh, damn, dude. Fucking
Yeah, my whole arm's wet now.
I don't want to hear it, dude.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
It's all your
I'm
fault.
okay with it. I'm okay with it. I think it's funny, like, this episode, we don't know how long we've been going.
No, we don't have a timer or anything. All we know is the light is still on my camera, so we know we're still recording right now.
Yeah. As opposed to the last episode where the camera died 3 times.
Yeah.
We had to finish the episode on a different day.
So I have a question for you
What?
because I feel like you always give me questions. I don't even know if he's got another segment or not. But
Oh, I got things.
So this came up the other day, and this is a little bit more political. So if you don't like political stuff, you can turn off now. It's fine.
Fuck. Okay.
Because he doesn't like talking about political stuff.
Yeah. In a social situation, I never discuss politics or religion because, you know.
But this is what we do.
Yeah. I mean, if it's just me and you, sure. Yeah. But I don't even know what you're about to bring up. So go ahead.
So I had this topic come up the other day.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, so I'm a Christian, and I grew up in church, and I know why are you laughing?
Because you didn't see the look that I gave the camera. I was just joking. Go ahead. You said I'm a Christian. I go.
I am. I believe. I mean,
no,
I am not like the most religious Christian, I guess, that there is. You know, and
I'm not judging how much of a Christian you are. Just the fact that you are a Christian is like. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
See what I have to live with.
I'm just kidding, bro.
With this.
I'm kidding. I grew up Christian too.
I think you'll actually agree with this. To be honest.
All right. Let's hear it.
So, something came up the other day talking about how there's a lot of like fake pastors out there and all this stuff.
Joel Osteen.
Yeah, I think he's actually a great example of one. Yeah, because there's so many people that are out there to make money and not out there to like genuinely make a church, like, because that's the religion they follow, and they want to like lead people to Christ. Right. The fact that you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's the big thing. As
a church, I think is kind of crazy. Like, so my thing is, don't you feel like churches should pay the exact same taxes as any other business?
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't that happen?
I think they try to like disguise it as like a what's it called?
It's a religious thing.
Well, yeah, it's a religious
freedom
thing.
of religion.
Yeah, but it's like a
and it's a protected
like
category.
a charity thing, you know. They don't like charity and stuff like that. It's not taxed, but
so it's crazy because my old pastor, and I'm not going to name the church or any names or anything, but my old pastor that I grew up in this church, and you know, I hear all these stories about, you know, this is a pretty small church. Like, I would say there might be 100 people in this whole church, so you might have like, let's say 30 families or 30 to 50 families, somewhere in there. So there's 30 to 50 families like giving tithes every week, you know what I mean? And I heard one day, as I got a little older, that the church had made about $1 million that year, like altogether. Like that was their, not net, but like gross pay for the year. It was about $1 million.
The church made that, or the pastor did?
The church made that.
Okay.
And so, and the reason I'm even talking about all this is because the Joel Osteens of the world are showing up in Lambos and like all the stuff, you know what I mean? Like, not really giving out.
$50 million jets.
And I'm sure that they're giving money to charities, but they're still driving Lambos and stuff, and I think that's crazy. This pastor, and the worst part is,
the worst part is they're taking money from people who think if I give 10% of my income, God is going to bless me, and they're giving this money to these people who are beyond blessed. And because they think that it's, you know, God wants them to. That's that's fucked up to me.
Well, let me tell you the story about this particular pastor, because, and like I said, I'm not going to name any names. And if you grew up with me, you probably know who this is. But
so I might know.
You might know who him. Actually, you actually went to this church as a young kid. Okay. And so if that gives you any context,
okay,
like your family actually introduced my family to this church, like when we were like 2 or something.
All right.
But I went to the church a lot longer than you did, and I hear all these stories about how this pastor, you know, his own family, like he wasn't buying shoes for his kids because he was buying tires for one of his family, like his one of his members of his congregation. Yeah, they needed tires for their vehicle because they were bald and it was dangerous, you know, and so he was giving back to his church. So, you know, because I remember thinking that the church didn't make that much money, you know what I mean? You want a towel?
No, don't use my Louis. No, I'll get over it.
But it gave me a good like foundation of what church should be, I feel like, because pastors, if they're making $1 million a year, like, yeah, you have a certain amount, like, you know, the pastor themselves, they need to eat. They need to be able to support their family. Like,
for sure,
they need 50 or 60 grand a year.
There's a lot that goes into running a church, so I think you should get paid for it.
I don't know if there's a lot of people in payroll. Maybe like the lead worship leader, you know, like maybe the kids pastor, you know, like there are certain production roles that need pay, and so you have that. But for the most part, people are volunteering at this church, volunteering to sweep the carpet, vacuum the carpet.
It's
do
like having a
certain things.
business that you have people working for free. Like,
right. It's like the best of all the worlds put together financially. People are donating, it's not taxed, and people are volunteering.
it's wild.
And my point of this whole conversation is, if you have pastors like the one I grew up with, who was very, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word that we talked about earlier?
Philanthropic?
No.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy.
Yeah, he's philanthropic.
Yeah, and so but it was a lot towards his own congregation and stuff because they're all donating, and I don't feel like anybody in
Charitable.
that congregation was overly rich or anything. You know what I mean? They gave their 10%, and that's what they did. The point of all of that is you have the Joel Osteens in the world who are just not really giving, and I'm not saying they're not giving money out, but there should, if you're in to be a pastor, you should be not living life. I don't want you to be poor, but you should be living life as a normal human being.
And at the very least,
and this pastor did, we would go on group rides, motorcycle rides, and he always rode kind of the crappiest, oldest Harley. You know what I mean? He'd have other people that rode better Harleys. You know what I mean? He wasn't out there riding the nicest thing or having the nicest car. His house wasn't great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think as a pastor, that's exactly what you need to be doing. And if there are any other pastors out here listening to this, probably not. But if you are, that's what the motto needs to be.
Well, as Jesus taught, you shouldn't be greedy, first of all, but money shouldn't be a driving factor. And when it becomes too much about money, then you're basically you're leading the opposite of what the Bible teaches.
Right.
And
but that's why I think churches should be taxed.
So
just
what was
any other business.
what was just the fact that he's making a bunch of money?
The fact that the church is making a bunch of money, but he's putting it back into his congregation.
Oh,
which
okay.
is exactly what needs to be happening. Versus
okay, I thought you had something negative to say about him.
No,
okay, good.
not at all. But the fact that there are other churches not doing that, there are churches that because I've been in other churches that are.
Me too.
You can tell it's a business and not
it's
not
very
faith driven. You know what I mean?
It's very self-masturbatory.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You walk into the pastor's office and you have a question. It's oh, you can't talk to the pastor right now. He's the holy one. You're worshiping the pastor, not
exactly
Jesus Christ or God or all that stuff. And so.
And a lot of them they instead of turning it into a sermon, they turn it into a comedy bit. They're oh,
right.
Look how good I am at talking to people. You know, it's just we get it. Let's get back to how I can be a better person.
I think that's why I've had a hard time plugging back into church because I don't really trust churches at this point because most churches are in it for the money.
It's hard to decide.
Especially big churches. I won't be involved in big churches. I have been involved in big churches and I won't do that again.
Yeah.
I can't. I enjoy being involved in the whole thing and being kind of in the inner circle of the interworkings of the church itself. Going to church and sitting in a pew and listening to the pastor and going home. I'm not gonna say I know everything. I'm not saying I could preach a sermon, but I've heard all the stories. You know what I mean? I get it. So I understand my own faith but I like being involved and the whole point of the church is to just have that community and have all that stuff.
The fellowship was my favorite part.
Right, and that's what the church is. I take that back. It's not what the church is. The church is you. You know what I mean? Me and you. We're the church, whether we're in church or not. But if you want to go to a building and have a congregation and all that stuff, then that's fine. But I don't feel that you should have to do that to be part of the church.
And also, a big part about being
people
a Christian,
out there making money for it.
Big part about being a Christian is being able to bring more people to the religion. And if you have a cool building and awesome events going on, that's going to make people want to be there for those events. But they stay for the events, but they learn more about the Bible because it brings them in. Right. And I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But when it becomes outside of the church,
I'm okay with the church spending money.
Exactly. If it's
not
for that,
not the pastor.
If it's for that, but
not
if it's for you to have a fucking $20 million mansion,
the pastor should be whatever the normal to median income is for the normal American. That's what the pastor should make. I don't care if the church is making $1 billion a year. That pastor should not be bringing home let's just say over $100,000 a year. I think anything over $100,000 a year, I think is crazy for a pastor.
Kind of crazy. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I agree. I mean,
if you're making $100,000 a year, your
it
needs are
depends
met,
on the pastor.
Unless you got like
depends
12
on the pastor,
kids.
honestly, it depends on
how
much they're putting into it. You know what I mean?
I think if anything, the pastor should be living more poor than the rest of his congregation. He should be. I don't want him to be like in the poorhouse.
I mean, I don't know how you could really.
That's why. That's why I say
that,
$100,000. Like $100,000 should be the top out of any pastor. Joe Osteen's, all those people in the world.
Same with politicians.
Okay. Yes.
I agree.
Yes, absolutely. Especially.
I love how you brought up politics, but then you just talked about religion the whole time. You didn't even bring up politics, so I was like, cool. I'm cool with that.
Well, I think that the reason I say that that's a politic thing is because the
taxes?
the policies say that churches don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And so it's bringing all these pastors out to
they,
start churches
because they see the benefits of
they
that.
see the business side of doing a church. They're good speakers. I don't know if they believe what they want to or not. I don't know if they believe what they're saying or not because they're in it for the money and they're too interested in making this big production about things. And I don't agree with that. Like, at some point, if you get more than like 200 people in that congregation, start a new church. Put another one out. Put that money towards a new church and do it that way. Having this big, massive church, and all this
have
other
a bunch
stuff,
of smaller ones everywhere.
Right, reach
more
out to people. You know what I
just
mean?
Having one,
Also,
I can see that.
This is another religious thing that I think. I know I said one. And I think you'll agree with this too.
All right.
I think that, well, in altogether, I think religion's too religious. I don't like the word religion anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think pastors should be... Pastors in general.
I thought you were saying pasture, like a field.
Pastors in general should be out at bars talking to people, like Jesus did. I think that should be more of the focus than making a bigger church.
A lot of the times, those are people that need faith more than anything.
Right.
You know?
If you're at the church,
if you're not bringing in,
then great. But the people, like the pastor should be out at the bar, go have 2 beers. Sit at the bar by yourself. Someone wants to come talk to you.
Or 2 glasses of wine that was originally water.
Whatever. Have 2 drinks. Go talk to people. Now, obviously, if you're one of those people who have struggled with alcohol, then maybe you're not the right person for this.
Well, yeah.
But the strongest people in the church should be the ones at the bar doing this kind of stuff. But
that's what Jesus did.
Exactly. Jesus was at the bar, turning water into wine and all this other stuff. And so, why are we not doing that? But we shun people for being alcoholics, and we shun people for doing all this stuff. But we should be out there talking to people and not shoving religion down people's throat. That's different.
Yeah,
go to the bar. Painful. Go to the bar, have a couple drinks, and talk to somebody, or have them approach you. You don't. I mean, if you go to the bar and don't talk to anybody, then that's fine. But do it once or twice a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm talking to pastors right now, not like the Joe Smo. Who,
y'all listening?
I mean? Yeah, I'm talking
people
to
that are watching
pastors
Simply
right now.
Chillin'.
So,
you never know.
That's my message to pastors and all that stuff in general. That's something I think I've always kind of wanted to say publicly. So,
yeah. Cool. Glad we have a platform for that. I know, right?
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know.
Thank you, Lauren.
I don't know how long we've been going, but I know that my drink is getting low, so we've probably been here for a while. You want to get to our pet peeves?
Oh yeah, I forgot about pet peeves.
We'll probably do the pet peeves and then we'll wrap it up. So. I texted him earlier.
I don't have my pet peeves because they're on my phone.
Oh shit! Oh damn! I guess we can't do the pet peeves.
Go ahead. I have a few memorized.
Okay. So. All right. So I'll go ahead and start with mine.
We're about
we'll
50 minutes in, so we're good.
How long?
50.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll just go with a few pet peeves.
Yeah.
One of them that really pisses me off is when the toilet paper roll is on upside down.
Why?
Why?
What is upside down?
Of course you would ask that.
Why is it upside down?
All right, what do you think is the right way to put toilet paper on?
There isn't. You put it on.
You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. That should be wiped up with toilet paper, okay? Obviously, and everyone will agree that the way to put on toilet paper is when the roll that you're going to grab from comes up over the top like that, not under the bottom.
Why?
Because when you're pulling the toilet paper, you put your other hand here, you rip. Otherwise, you're pulling it like this, you're like, I don't know how this is.
I feel like either way you can put your hand on top and rip it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You won't get a clean rip if you do that.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
If it's coming up from the bottom and you put your hand on top, you're gonna get a clean rip? No.
Yeah. Why not? They're perforated.
Because you have to have your hand close to where the perforation is.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Have
Dude.
you tried it the other way?
All right, let me put this out there. How does it look aesthetically? It looks stupid when it's coming out here. It's dangling down. You want it to be nicely draped over the top. That's how it should be. End of discussion. How do you put it on? Do you put it on where it comes out onto the bottom, or do you even think about it?
I don't think about it. Like
You're
I could literally be blindfolded,
Blindfolded?
and
So
I just put it on.
I could go in there one week and it'll be over the top, and then the next week it could be under the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who are you?
I am someone who does not think about that kind of stuff. Like, life's too short to think about which way you put the toilet paper. The same way, life's too short to match your socks. You know what I mean? Like
What?
Yeah, life's too short.
I could
to match
understand
socks.
if you're not going anywhere. You know, you're just like chilling. If you're wearing pants that day,
You have a
sure.
white sock and a black sock.
Sure.
Who cares? Why?
I hate you.
Why?
How are we related, dude?
Because you know why? Because life's too short. Like, why are we spending time on trivial shit that doesn't matter? I'd rather spend more time on relationships and having conversations that matter.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I know. I see.
You know what? What's your pet peeve? Okay. What pisses you off? Because you're getting my blood boiling right now.
My pet peeves are my first one is people telling me what their pet peeves are, and that they have to do with me.
This is when you actually wrote down. And you're just coming up.
It's
with
in
it
my
right now?
phone. I'll show you later.
Yeah, wow. Really? Really?
Because if they're a pet peeve of yours, like we live together, so maybe it's a little bit more.
We should know each other's pet peeves so we're not constantly pissing each other off.
I don't care if I piss you off. So.
Yeah, same.
No, I think for the most part we live together just fine. Okay, so tell me, is there something that I do that overly bugs you? For real?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Many things.
Okay, go ahead.
But
give it to me.
But one of these I wanted to wait for another podcast before I made the
All right, so give me one.
content for it. Just the fact that you okay, all right, really, really want to dig
Go
into
for
this?
it. Yeah, we'll get a little.
Your
deep into this.
toilet.
What about my toilet?
The fact that you asked that question alone pisses me off. Okay, so I was like, we've been here for 3 weeks. I noticed that my toilet got a little dirty, so I, cleaned it. And I looked at his toilet, and I was like, bro, do you realize how bad your toilet is? Like, do you want to use my shit to clean it? And he's like, I never even noticed. You didn't notice?
So
No,
now
hold on. So I went in there, I took a picture of it. I was like, that doesn't look dirty to you? You were like, oh, I don't know. It's just been like that since I got here.
it has.
But
Like, it wasn't like something that I did. Like,
I get that. But you don't care to clean it?
no, because it's just gonna get dirty again. Like, so this is not like there's like build up like feces in the bottom of this.
It's not feces.
There's like a ring around it and like
No,
a couple like.
I'm gonna take a picture of it and we're gonna put it up here.
Take a picture.
I will.
Drop it right here.
I will, because it looks
It's
like
not that bad.
It looks like the Grudge. Her hair is coming down the sides of the bowl. Like it's like black streaks coming down. And
I think you're being dramatic. I mean, we're gonna put the picture up.
You better not clean it before I take a picture, because
I won't.
I'm about to expose your ass, bro. For real. Do you remember any other? I forgot. I still have some. God,
I don't have any. They're on my phone.
I'm getting too worked up right now, dude.
I do have one. It's probably not. It's a little bit more lighthearted than the ones you've been coming up with.
Okay, this one's a little
Little more
different. People that.
Oh, you have one. Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I guess it is your turn. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
This is lighthearted. So people that drive in the left lane that are going the speed limit. That shit pisses me off.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Like, I'm like my dad
Like,
even told me, like, hey,
it's
look,
a
if you're not
passing lane.
passing somebody, then get in the right lane.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like, I don't totally do that all the time. Like, I will hang out in the left lane, but I am going much over the speed limit if I'm doing that. You know, like, I will go 80 in the 65 or 70 on the interstate. Like, if I'm going 80 and you're still on my ass, like, it's fine. You can get over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like people that hang out in that left lane and just hang out there going the speed limit 65 on, the interstate, that shit pisses me off. There's a lot of like road rage type things that irritate me. Like,
Here's another example of someone that drives. The person that doesn't put their seatbelt on and just lets it ding and ding and ding. I know two of my friends who will do that. And I get in the car with them, and I'll be driving their car sometimes, and they don't put their seatbelt on. I'm like, hey, can you put your seatbelt on? And they're like, oh, dude, it'll stop dinging. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to listen to that ding.
Dude, I have a friend that's like, okay, it'll stop dinging. But then another friend who his car, it doesn't stop dinging ever. And he just keeps riding. I'm like, I'll pull over right now until you fucking put your seatbelt on, dude. Like, that shit pisses me off. I'm like, does that not bother you? He's like, I just kind of tuned it out at this point. And don't act like you agree with me, because we talked about this earlier, and you're like, I don't know, it bother me, you fucking asshole.
Even my car has like if you're sitting in it, then it like turns the airbag on, and then like I've been like throwing my phone in the passenger seat, and it like thinks there's someone sitting there.
Really?
Yeah, and
I didn't know.
And then it starts dinging because it thinks there's someone sitting there, and like turns the airbag on, and it's dinging because there's not a seatbelt on, and it's very irritating. Yeah, but yeah,
it's fucking annoying, dude. All right, so look. We've been going for a while now, way longer than I thought.
You got one more.
One more? Okay, well, shit. Pet peeves. Okay, people that touch me too much when they're laughing. Okay?
Yeah.
And I know you know who I'm thinking of. Like, he came down to Georgia one time, but it makes me not want to say funny things anymore, because they're like, and I'm like, dude, get the fuck off of me. All right?
Don't touch me.
It pisses me
you
off.
peasant.
Like, and sometimes I'll say something funny, and they'll be like, and they'll tap me. I'll be like, don't touch me. Or I'll drop my shoulder, and they're like, dude. I'm like, no.
I don't like being touched. I don't like being touched.
Yeah. No, you can touch me. It's fine. But
I agree. Like, even in a work setting. Like, I've had, like, people in a work setting.
Or when they stand too close to you when they're talking.
Dude, I have a bubble.
I'm like, bro.
I'm a short person, but I have a big bubble.
So they have to be like,
this is as close as I would ever want anybody near me, like, ever.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, a female, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I like. And so, like, even at work, people have, like, those. And I'm like, so we've talked about this. I'm like 5'5", and we've had people that are like 6 foot, 6'3". Like, there are people that are like way taller than me, and they'll stand way over me and start talking to me. And I'm like, bro, it's fucking raining up there. Can you please stop spitting on me, please? Please stop. Like, and I'll back up, and they'll get closer. And I'm like, it's very irritating. Yeah. And people that like want to hug you at work, they're like, oh, that's and I'm like, this is not okay. Like, don't touch me. Like,
I guess
I'm not the guy
to the relationship.
I'm not the type of guy to like call HR, but like at the same time, don't touch me, please.
Like women or dudes?
Both. Like both. Like, it's not okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if it's a dude, especially a coworker, but if it's a dude, like, unless we've been like drinking and like something really crazy just happened, you're like, dude, I'm so glad you survived. Don't fucking hug me, dude. Like, seriously.
So I was gonna save this story for a different podcast, but
okay.
I'm gonna tell this story. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're about to say, but
so,
try to keep it brief, because I would like another drink, and we still got to edit. I got to work in the morning.
You want me to make you a drink?
No, because I don't want to have to fucking vamp for.
You can make a drink.
Minutes.
I'll tell the story.
Are you really?
Yeah.
All right. I also got to piss.
Okay.
You got it?
You're gonna take your drink with you?
Yeah, after I put things in my pocket and stuff like that.
Okay.
I gotta get the mic cable.
Okay. It's all right.
All right.
Welcome to Chillin podcast.
We already did that.
So I had this employee, right? And me and her are super cool, right? And she's a little older than me. Like, she's an employee of mine, and we've been chilling for a minute, right? Meaning that, like, I've been at the store for like 3 or 4 months, and I've always felt like she's been a little bit flirtatious, but it's not like unprofessional or anything like that. And this one particular day, I went out there and I went to work, and we were talking, and at the end of the conversation, like, she like slapped me on the butt, and I'm like, okay. So I completely ignored it. I was like, this is not okay. Like, whatever. Like, it was like was like an attaboy or whatever. Like, she's in her 40s, I'm in my 30s. Like, she's my employee. Like, and I think that as guys, like, we don't talk about this kind of stuff. Like, and I don't know if this happens a lot, because I feel like guys don't talk about it. Like, I feel like if the roles were reversed and like a guy did this to a girl, this would definitely get talked about. But considering the roles were reversed, and I'm kind of her boss, and like I do her evals and stuff, like I'm not really trying to say anything or make it a big deal. Like, in all honesty, it didn't bother me. Like, I didn't feel threatened or anything like that. So it wasn't a thing for me to bring up. But like, in a professional setting, it does make me wonder how often this happens to males. Like, where, you're in a certain role, or even if you're not in a certain role, and the female, does something that maybe is a little bit inappropriate. You know what I mean? Obviously, in this situation anyway, I had no intentions of, I was not attracted to this person whatsoever or anything like that. And so the fact that this happened was like, crap. Like, what do I do? And so all I did, don't interrupt my rant.
What did you do?
Don't make me tell the story again.
No, you just said, so what I did was...
So what I did was nothing, actually. I didn't do anything because, and I think I've told him this story. I'm telling the story about the female who slapped my butt at work. And... Oh, yeah. And okay. So, and I didn't do anything about it because... As guys, I don't know, like, I don't feel like we report stuff like that. Is it good? Is it strong?
Report way too much whiskey. I was trying to hurry. Oh, God.
I know, when you're out there and the camera's rolling, you're trying to hurry.
Yeah, and I had a piss, so I just stepped outside real quick. I was like,
Anyway, if anybody has a story like that, especially as a male or even as a female, I'd be very interested to see if like there's any.
I'm sure there's a lot more stories from females.
Probably more from females, but I'd like to hear both. Are there stories that has happened like that where, it's as simple as like someone slapping someone's behind, like it's like it felt like a baseball game, like, oh, good job, but that's weird in a professional setting.
In a professional setting, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
baseball game, sure.
And I'm sure that there's crazier stories than that. But as a male, like, and some like random female slap, like it was deliberate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
was it a smack or was it a smack and grab at the end?
It was a smack. And so, but it wasn't like tapping someone on the back. Like it was on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Like it was deliberate.
It was female?
It was female. Very deliberate. And so, like, obviously I didn't say anything. And so I was telling them I didn't say anything because, like, I'm not trying to get this person in trouble. I actually like this person, like, in a professional setting. You know what I mean? Like, she did a good job. Like, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's job.
And as a man, you don't want to be like, I felt violated.
Yeah, and so the whole thing is, I think that there's a lot of scenarios. I bet there's a lot of scenarios like that as a guy that don't get reported, just like mine didn't.
I can think of a few examples that that's happened to me.
Really?
But I don't really want to get into it right now because I feel like we've been going for like an hour now. So
it's fine.
No, it's cool. We'll talk about it on another episode.
Okay.
But yeah, man.
So you already went through our Instagrams and stuff?
Yeah, you can go ahead and plug yours again because I might have fucked it up. So where can people find you, man?
All right, so Simply Living 770 is my Instagram. Obviously, please subscribe to the Simply Living Pod on Instagram.
No, it's Simply Chillin Pod.
Simply Chillin Pod, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, because they're kind of close. Simply Chillin Pod.
I think I fucked it up earlier.
Did you?
I think I did Simply Chillin 770.
It doesn't matter. We'll link them all in the description.
Exactly,
we'll put them in the right order. But I really appreciate everybody getting to this point. If anybody who's gotten to this point in the video, say slap to go with my story. If you've gotten to this point in the video, comment slap down below because I'd be interested to see who's gotten to this far.
Right.
So
that'll be interesting because this is the first
time. It's a long video.
It's the first time we've done one like longer than 30 minutes, which is good because like most podcasts are at least an hour. So I'm
right.
Trying to work for that, but yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in, and
Absolutely.
I guess we'll see you next week.
Have a great night.
See ya.
Peace.
How we feeling? We're simply chilling, yeah. Oh, yeah. How we living? We're simply chilling.